What's good, it's your boy 2K here. Shout out to the movement and everybody who's moving with us. Y'all want to give a shout out to my man Andre, who sent me a screenshot of the Wikipedia definition of a gatekeeper, and that inspired me to do this video. Now, the funny shit is not the definition itself, but the example they use to support their definition, right? Let me read this. In kickboxing, boxing, and martial arts, a gatekeeper is a skillful and well-regarded fighter, but one who does not have the popularity or brilliance of a title contender. I disagree with that statement. They are considered to be a cut above most journeymen. A gatekeeper will often have an impressive record in terms of wins versus losses, but will have a difficult time getting people behind them, and especially obtaining promotion. I disagree with that one as well. An example from boxing is lightweight Cincinnati fighter Adrien Broner. Known for having tough matches with some of boxing's top contenders, yet failing to obtain his full potential as an elite fighter despite his best efforts. Yo, you know what, man? That's Adrien Broner's fucking fault right there. Now, let me just say this, yo. Let me just say this. We all know Wikipedia is open source. Any Joe Blow, goofy head looking motherfucker could go to Wikipedia and update any page they want. They can also create their own page, right? So this could have been done by a casual, could have been done by somebody whom we actually think is a well-respected enthusiast or pundit within the sport. But let me break this definition down real quick, and then I'm going to get into Adrien Broner. The statement where they say a gatekeeper is a skillful and well-regarded fighter, but one who does not have the popularity or brilliance of a title contender. I disagree with that, because there's plenty of gatekeepers, and I made a video about this not too long ago. There's plenty of gatekeepers who were former champions, right? So if they've never possessed the popularity or brilliance to be a contender, then how the fuck were they champions, which is a step above a contender, right? The only reason why you reach gatekeeper status is usually because you have taken a string of losses to the top guys in your division, and it's become a situation where we see you as a fighter who cannot beat the elite guys in your division, right? And this is exactly how I feel about Adrien Broner at 147. I think this definition, or at least not the definition, but them saying a gatekeeper is Adrien Broner, but the definition of gatekeeper will be from my standards. I believe that is Adrien Broner, right? He's a former champion. He's actually a 4-time champion in 4 different weight classes, who has regressed into a fighter who cannot beat the top guys in his home division. Right now his home division is 147, but he moves between 140 and 147. It depends on the fight, right? Depends on how disciplined the motherfucker is, which a lot of people know by this point in time, Adrien Broner struggles with discipline, right? But at 140, you know what I'm saying? He has a better opportunity to become a champion. There isn't really too many big names at 140 that can give Adrien Broner some trouble. I think the guys that would give him trouble there, of course, Mikey Garcia, who's fighting my man Sergey Limp Nuts next month in San Antonio. 3 Kings might be there giving y'all some full coverage, by the way. But he already beat Adrien Broner, right? And what a lot of people don't know is that Adrien Broner actually came this fucking close. I know you can't see my hands and shit, but you know what I'm talking about. He was very close to becoming the new IBF 140-pound champion, because he was supposed to fight Sergey Limp Nuts. But some shit didn't happen. The fight fell through, negotiations fell through, and Mikey Garcia jumped in and became that cat to fill in that spot to become the new IBF 140-pound champion, because he gonna beat the dog shit out of Limp Nuts in San Antonio next month. Then you got Julius and Dongo. I still think he's a good fighter that can give some people trouble at 140. You got my man Regis Prograis. I think that motherfucker's the future at 140, right? I think Victor Postal, even though he got washed by Terence Crawford and didn't look good in his last fight, he still has that height and range and boxing ability from the outside to give Cash trouble, right? Now, of course, I ain't say a Mary Mom because that motherfucker's overhyped. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a fight Adrien Broner can actually win. But nevertheless, it's still somewhat of a good fight. There's a lot of good matchups for Adrien Broner at 140. Whereas 147, I mean, you go to the cream of the crop. I'll name Kell Brook first, since he's getting ready to move to 154 and have his first fight against Sergey Rabchenko. But he's still considered a 147 pounder. That's his home division. Broner can't beat him, right? Keith Thurman, Broner can't beat that cat, right? Terence Crawford, the newly entry at 147. Adrien Broner definitely can't fuck with Terence Crawford at any weight, 135, 140, or 147, right? Danny Garcia, I like that fight. Adrien Broner has expressed wanting to fight him, or he didn't say he'd want to fight him, but he said, hey, if I need to fight my bro Danny Garcia because he's in my way of progress, then I'll do so. Whereas Danny Garcia was like, well, I'm not really looking to fight Adrien Broner, right? Because they're cool, you know what I'm saying? But if that fight were to go down, it's a good fight, but I favor Danny Garcia, right? You got Errol Spence. Definitely not fucking with Errol. We already know what happened in that sparring session. It would be much more brutal in the motherfucking ring under the bright lights. And then you go to the contenders, Manny Pacquiao. I think that's a toss-up fight. Manny Pacquiao looked like shit against Jeff Horn. Before, I thought Manny Pacquiao could beat Adrien Broner. I don't know now, simply because we don't know what Manny Pacquiao we gonna fucking get. That's a toss-up. You got Lamont Peterson. That's an excellent fight in my opinion. That's actually the fight that I was looking to have happen at 147. Adrien Broner again expressed that he would fight one of his good friends if need be, but again, the other guy said that he didn't want to fight Adrien Broner. In this case, Lamont Peterson said, well, there's a clash there. Barry Hunter, who's the trainer for him, but the second assistant for Adrien Broner, right? But that'd be a good fight. That's a toss-up. You got Jesse Vargas. I think Adrien Broner could beat Jesse Vargas, but Jesse Vargas has pretty good boxing ability, so that fight can go either way, right? I know Jeff Horn is a fucking champion, man. I didn't want to mention him, but I know I got Australians watching my fucking channel. They would have went crazy if I didn't mention Jeff Horn, the WBO champion. Adrien Broner probably beats Jeff Horn. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Now, I think Jeff Horn gives him a tough fight. You know what I'm saying? Given his style, but I think Adrien Broner could beat him. You know, all those guys give Adrien Broner trouble, or they fucking beat him to the point where there's really no decision there. You know, Sean Porter's another top guy, but he already beat Adrien Broner, and it was rather easy. So if you look at the landscape of 147, Broner's definitely a gatekeeper there. Him and Andre Berto almost sitting in the same fucking boat at 147. And I feel that Lamont Peterson will also become a gatekeeper there. I don't think he can beat a lot of those guys. Right now, he's not. He's the WBA regular champion. He's getting ready to lose that belt January 17th against Errol Spence. Actually, I don't even think that belt's even up. It's just Errol Spence defending the IBF title. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, he's going to get slaughtered. I call that fight lawn chair season because Errol Spence about to fold that motherfucker up worse than Lucas Matisse did at 140. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, once that happens, Lamont Peterson's going to go back to the drawing board and look at who he's got to fight at 147, and it's a bunch of killers that can all beat him. You know what I mean? But he has a better chance, in my opinion, than Adrien Broner does. He has better chance of success at 147 than Broner does. So, definitely, when we look at 147, you know, the gatekeeper title fits Adrien Broner. But if we look at 140, I think Adrien Broner's a contender there. He's not a gatekeeper. He can definitely become a champion again. But the problem is, dude is in between a rock and a hard place, right? He's too fucking fat for 140, but then he's not good enough to contend at 147. To contend legitimately to where we can say, hey, he's going to be a champion at 147, right? Man, motherfucker's going to have to either retire or move up like Kell Brook is doing in order to open up opportunities for Adrien Broner to go back to 147 and to be able to be a champion, right? He could probably beat a Jeff Horn like I just stated, but Bob Arum ain't giving Jeff Horn to Adrien Broner. He's giving Jeff Horn to Terence Crawford. So you got 4 titles that's in 3 champions' hands. I'll go ahead and say when Jeff Horn loses to Terence Crawford, Crawford gonna be the newly crowned WBO champion. That shit's inevitable, right? So you got Keith Thurman, who's a WBC and WBA super champion, and you got Errol Spence, who's the IBF champion, and then in the future, Terence Crawford will be the WBO champion. Adrien Broner ain't winning none of those titles from those cats unless they relinquish the belts, retire, or fucking move up, right? So I think this Gatekeeper title fits him perfectly at 147. Let me get to the other statement that I disagree with. A Gatekeeper will often have an impressive record in terms of wins versus losses, but will have a difficult time getting people behind him and especially obtaining promotion. I disagree with the last half where they said it will have a difficult time of getting people behind them and promotion, right? Adrien Broner has excellent promotion. He promotes himself, right? The villain stigma. So he has excellent promotion, so much so that he's losing fights and motherfuckers still tune into his fights. Motherfuckers still buy tickets to go to his fights. He had lost to Sean Porter. Matter of fact, let me go further back. After Marcos McDonough made this motherfucker do the Harlem Shake, he fought Carlos Molina, and I'm not looking at his resume, you two, go ahead and correct me wherever I'm wrong, but he fought Carlos Molina, Emmanuel Taylor, John Molina, right? I think he fought Sean Porter right after that fight. Did the Harlem Shake again. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker got ran over by the linebacker. Then was put in an immediate title shot against Khabib Alvey, right? Won that, then defended it. Oh, actually, no, he didn't defend it because a nigga too fat lost the title on the scales against Ashley Theophane. And every last one of those fights I just mentioned, Carlos Molina, John Molina, Ashley Theophane, Khabib Alvey, Emmanuel Taylor, that's 5 fights after his first loss and after his second loss. And cats still came to watch him, and they still supported him, and he had a huge backing of negative fans and positive fans, man. They did great with the promotion, and he got a lot of money for those fights. I think he got over $1 million for each one of those fights. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that he's able to promote himself and to get people to like him and to fucking hate him, more so to hate him to the point where they just can't get enough of seeing Adrien Broner get his ass whipped, that's self-promotion. That's him actually having a backing. Whether it's negative or it's positive, he still has a backing. So I disagree with that last statement. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. The shit was just funny as fuck to me. A Gatekeeper, in my opinion, I'll restate it, is somebody who could be a former champion who is taking a number of setbacks in succession against some of the better fighters in his or her division, and it becomes apparent that that particular fighter will not be able to contend with the elite fighters of that division, but they're still better than journeymen, right? Adrien Broner can beat the journeymans of 140 and 147. He can beat most contenders of the 140 and 147 division. He just can't beat the elite motherfuckers at 147. So that puts him above journeyman status, right at Gatekeeper status, which means that eventually one day there might be a young motherfucker like Regis Prograis that's trying to get a name on his resume. He trying to get a body, and he ends up getting matched up against Adrien Broner. That's what a Gatekeeper is. YouTube dudes, you do in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this particular shit, man. This Wikipedia shit was funny as fuck, man. It had me dying for like 10 minutes when I read it. You know what I'm saying? But it's ironic, man, because Adrien Broner only did this to himself. You know what I mean? You got, of course, it could have been a hater that put him on there. You know what I mean? Or it could have been a real true boxing pundit that put him on there. But my point is, the reason why Adrien Broner has been categorized as a guy who's seen as a joke or a clown, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who's not elite, who has the skill set to be elite, but can't execute that skill set to show that he's elite. And that's because of his lack of discipline, right? Ballooning up to 180 pounds in between fights, you know what I'm saying? Drinking and shit, smoking. I don't know if he smokes, but partying, you know what I mean? At clubs and shit. You know, focusing on other things besides boxing, and then getting in the ring and giving us dismal ass performances. People are fed up with Adrien Broner, the ones that used to back him, right? The ones that backed him at 130 and 135. The ones that backed him when he knocked out Jason Litzau, when he beat the shit out of motherfucking Antonio DeMarco and Gavin Reese. Those guys, those people that backed him back then, they kind of fed up with dude right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's his fucking fault. So now he's over here on Wikipedia, niggas is calling them gatekeepers. YouTube, do what you do in the comment section, man. Let me know what you think about this shit. This is real talk for real fans. 1.